It was an unforgettable moment from the dawn of the space age. A carefully rehearsed operation to retrieve America's second man in space, Gus Grissom, and his historic Mercury space capsule, Liberty Bell 7. A picture-perfect operation until the last minute. The hatch blew open. Seawater flooded the capsule. An American hero struggled to save his life. Inches above the water, a Marine pilot fought to stay aloft and hold on to the capsule. But a ton of water proved too much. Grissom was pulled to safety. But just minutes after touching outer space, Liberty Bell 7 was swallowed by the Atlantic. Lost at sea, 3 miles deep.
What? Okay, Artie. Go ahead, boom up. Boom it up.
Now, 38 years later, a team of underwater explorers prepare to set sail from the port of Cape Canaveral, Florida, on their own high-stakes Mercury mission.
Okay, boom it up. Okay, boom it up.
Their vehicle, a high-tech underwater search and retrieval robot. Their destination, a featureless stretch of ocean, 100 miles north of the Bahamas. Their mission, to find and recover Gus Grissom's lost space capsule, to raise Liberty Bell 7. The story of Liberty Bell 7 and America's quest for the moon all began here, on this fire-scarred patch of concrete, back in 1961. For more than a decade, Kurt Newport has pursued a personal quest to recover America's second manned spacecraft, Gus Grissom's Liberty Bell.
Things were a lot different back then with spaceflight. I mean, this, I call this like backyard or garage spaceflight. These are very simple missiles. This was the state of the art in missile technology in 1961. I mean, this was the best that we had.
Today, Gus Grissom's invaluable contributions to America's space program have been largely forgotten.
Grissom was pretty high in the pecking order. Many people thought Grissom was the best stick and rudder man of all of the Mercury astronauts.
Perhaps by finding Liberty Bell, Kurt's quest will cast new light on a man who would lose his life reaching for the moon. On the docks next to the Kennedy Space Center, Kurt directs the search team as they prepare to launch a robot to the bottom of the ocean. Kurt has spent over 20 years exploring deep waters around the world, working on wrecked planes, undersea cables, and offshore oil rigs. But this job is different.
I don't think there's any way we are coming back into Florida without that thing on deck. We got to find it. That's the main thing.
Okay, now I want you to start hydraulics.
For the first time, Kurt is leading his own expedition.
Good. Now rotate.
Putting his reputation and his career on the line.
I think it's landed just like it landed 38 years ago. That's what I think. I guess we'll find out who's right.
It will take Kurt and the crew aboard the workboat Needham Tide 24 hours to reach the waters where Liberty Bell splashed down. A trip that took Gus Grissom just 15 minutes. The flight of Mercury Redstone 4 carried Grissom and his capsule 300 miles off the Florida coast. But the exact site of the splashdown is impossible to pin down. Liberty Bell was tracked by radar But as the main parachute opened, the capsule began to fall below the radar ceiling. Splashdown coordinates represent the tracker's best estimates. Kurt's research has focused on 8 conflicting navigation fixes. The result? A search area 3 miles wide and 8 miles long. 24 square miles of open ocean water.
The basic bottom line in something like this is, in my opinion, what you want to do is stack the decks and load the dice in your favor so that you're not playing fair. You're searching a big enough area that you're pretty sure that it's going to be in there somewhere. Now, obviously, there has to be some realism to this because we can't search the whole Atlantic Ocean.
The initial deep-water reconnaissance mission will be conducted by Ocean Explorer 6000, a state-of-the-art side scan sonar. For extra insurance, the high-tech system gets an old-fashioned good luck charm. Lamb chop.
Not taking any chances here. We need some serious divine guidance.
For crew, Kurt has turned to people he trusts, offshore specialists from Oceaneering International. To examine the ocean floor at these depths, the sonar must be sent to the bottom, 15,000 feet down. Signals will be relayed back to the ship via an umbilical cord more than 4 miles long. Armored with a triple layer of steel cables, the tether can stand over 20 tons of shock. The team will spend days towing the sonar through a series of 9 search lines, scanning an area the size of Manhattan for an object little larger than a refrigerator. They call the process mowing the lawn. Gravity will pull the sonar to the bottom, but it will take 4 hours to reach the ocean floor, 3 miles down, a half-mile deeper than the Titanic. Somewhere down below lies a 9-foot titanium nose cone. A needle lost in a 24 square mile haystack 38 years ago.
Every weeknight at 8, discover a series.
The dawn of the space age. The world was racing to the moon. And it looked like America was losing the race. April 12, 1961. A Russian R-7 missile. 20 rocket engines generating 1 million pounds of thrust hurled cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin around the globe and into history. The Soviet Union hailed the first man in space as a triumph for communism. In these dark days of the Cold War, America's brightest heroes were 7 men chosen to meet the challenge of the Russians.
These, ladies and gentlemen, are the nation's Mercury astronauts.
The pioneers of Project Mercury: Wally Schirra, Alan Shepard, John Glenn, Scott Carpenter, Deke Slayton, Gordon Cooper, and Virgil I. Grissom, Gus. While most of the astronauts enjoyed the public attention, Grissom always seemed uneasy in the spotlight.
Well, there was never any question in my mind about volunteering. It was just, could I get in on the program?
Behind his reserved facade, Gus Grissom was among the most competitive of a hard-driving crew.
Gus was a go-getter. He didn't talk a lot, but when he did talk, it was worth listening to. And although we were all cut from the same cloth, he had his strengths that were unequaled by any of the other guys.
over 2,000 hours flying jet aircraft, 100 combat missions in Korea, a degree in mechanical engineering. When opportunity knocked, Gus jumped at the chance to add rockets to his resume.
My father loved. He thought that this was just one of the greatest things that ever happened. My mother, of course, didn't understand this at all. And back in 1959, when they were selected, people thought this idea of going into space was just ludicrous.
Before launching a man on a rocket, NASA had serious challenges to overcome.
I recall very well being at the Cape prior to any of our flights and watching this rocket take off and blow up. And my, are we really going to fly on one of those things?
But by spring of 1961, NASA's single-engine Redstone rocket was certified for manned flight.
This Redstone missile is the center of world attention as Commander Alan B. Shepard Jr. watches some final preparations.
The first man to test the booster was Navy pilot Alan Shepard. Barely 3 weeks after Yuri Gagarin's flight, 9:34 a.m., May 5th, 1961.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff.
Alan Shepard's 15-minute ballistic journey, a 300-mile arc through space to the Atlantic, was a small step compared to the Russians' orbital flight. But it triggered an explosion of national pride, from the White House to Main Street. America was back in the space race and eager to catch up. Next to carry the torch would be Air Force pilot Gus Grissom. His mission, the final test of a new, improved Mercury capsule. With his engineering background, Gus had been the astronaut's voice throughout development of the cockpit. Like each of the Mercury 7, he tagged his capsule with the number 7 and a nickname, Liberty Bell. He even added a painted-on crack. Gus spearheaded the test pilot's campaign for a joystick for manual control. And his capsule featured the first picture window for a panoramic view. But Liberty Bell's most important innovation was a new emergency exit, an explosive safety hatch that could be blown open at the push of a button. "3:30 a.m., July 21st, 1961. Cape Canaveral, Launch Complex 5. Captain Gus Grissom prepared to test the improved Mercury capsule with his life.
I think everyone has a certain amount of fear of things that are unknown, and I certainly do. But I'm used to this sort of thing, so I accept it. I will be scared and let it go at that.
On top of the Redstone gantry, 59 feet above the concrete blast pad, Grissom squeezed into his ship with the help of his backup, John Glenn, and the pad crew, led by Gunter Wendt.
The Mercury spacecraft was very, very compact, you might call it. We used to kid it and says, okay, you get in with a shoehorn and you come out with a can opener.
For only the third time in history, a man prepared to ride a rocket into space.
You don't put a man on the end of a rocket in 1961 and not be nervous, because if you weren't nervous, you didn't know what the hell the story was all about. I wouldn't say he was afraid, but if he wasn't somewhat afraid, again, he didn't understand the problem, and Gus understood the problem.
3:58 a.m. All systems go. 3 hours to final countdown. The search goes on 24 hours a day. Packed with sensitive electronics, the van is headquarters for the mission's brain trust. Kurt Newport, Richard Daly, Steve Wright, and Mark Wilson.
Well, unfortunate, there's a lot more feature to the bottom than we originally had anticipated. Yeah. Gives us the possibility of missing it. You know, if the target landed in one of these ravines, it would be hard to detect.
Like any sonar, the side-scanning Ocean Explorer sees with sound. With each pass, acoustic signals sweep the ocean floor over 500 yards to either side. But a blind spot more than 300 feet wide runs right down the middle. Enough room to hide a fleet of space capsules. A computer converts the underwater echoes into the sonar display. Mud and sand read in shades of gray. Harder, more reflective targets show up as bright blips or black shadows.
If it's standing upright or laying on its side, you'll see an actual shadow behind it, just like we're looking at with the sand waves.
Yeah.
So you can measure the width, the length, and the height of the shadow, and then the program will come back and tell you exactly how big that object is.
Each pass through the target area takes 8 hours. And trailing over 20,000 feet of cable adds even more time. Over 6 hours just to turn the boat around. Even working around the clock, the team can do no more than 2 search lines a day.
Plunger in one corner, so it would have done around in a circle like that. Oh, this is a nice target here. That's a good one.
As hard targets begin to appear, they're logged into a computer database.
Looks like a very good target.
I mean, it's in some geology, but it's pretty hard.
Then, the last thing they want to see, flat lines. Under the merciless pressure 3 miles down, Ocean Explorer's sonar has fried out.
Hello, Bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, when we get this towfish up close to the surface and start to get it behind the boat, I'm going to want you to turn into the seas and give us as dry and smooth a ride as we can, okay?
The boat carries a fully equipped workshop. Still, it may take days just to isolate the breakdown. And only then can they begin repairs.
And nothing like this is ever cut and dry. I mean, there are set procedures for doing things, but in other cases, I mean, you sort of wing it and use your intuition and base everything on your experience at sea.
Preparation is the only factor in Kurt's control. He spent years working out the variables, charting wind and currents, plotting the physics of the sinking capsule, even designing specialized grappling equipment to lift Liberty Bell from the ocean floor. Malfunctioning sonar is frustrating, but it's only a delay, not a defeat. 3 days later, after round-the-clock repairs and a long plunge to the bottom, Ocean Explorer is back at work, hunting for history at the bottom of the Atlantic.
Now, we just found 2 small targets that are pretty hot, that are no geology around and a flat surface.
Stand by one.
The team begins to review an unexpected flood of promising sonar hits.
88 contacts are considered targets.
It's not too many, we can handle it, right?
It's 4
nowadays. It's a day.
No, I don't
It's
think
just
so.
a target every hour.
The search area turns out to be a 24-square-mile box full of red herrings.
Of course, I think a lot of them are probably geology, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know.
To send the remotely operated vehicle Magellan to the bottom to examine every target would take weeks. To narrow the field, they must try to decipher which sonar contacts are rocks and natural features and which might be man-made.
And Mark and I right now are going through and eliminating what we consider geology after further investigations and interpretations. And what we do is we try to prioritize them so that we don't waste a lot of time when we do dive, because we have a limited amount of diving time. Because like we say, you don't want the ROV down on the bottom looking around for an hour and then find a rock. We want to find something a little more substantial.
The ocean will give it up when the ocean's ready to give it up.
We'll give it up when we decide it's going to give it up.
When it's decided that we've suffered enough.
Right.
Prioritizing calls for a cross between hard science and human intuition. Striking the wrong target off the list will condemn Kurt's quest to failure.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. I do get some say in this, right?
Yeah. It's an isolated, hard target. Nothing scattered around it.
But you got that pretty nice one that you showed me last night.
Yeah,
at the end of the line.
Yeah,
that one. That's a nice one too. I mean, it's in some geology, but it's pretty hard.
It is.
And the next one is right behind it.
Anybody want coffee or anything?
I do.
It looks like geology to me.
Line 8.
Days of debate narrow the list from 88 contacts to just 16. For the first dive, Kurt picks a cluster of promising sonar hits. The first in line, target 71.
Ignition, lift off, lift off.
Roger, this is Liberty Bell 7. The clock is operating. Loud and clear, Jose. Don't cry too much. Okie doke.
Propelled by 78,000 pounds of thrust, Gus Grissom headed for outer space.
Okay, it's a nice ride up to now.
You get in an airplane, you turn on the afterburner, and that thing lights off. That's what he was doing with the Redstone rocket. You light that damn thing, and he's on the end of a torch. That's exciting, no matter how you cut it.
Okay, the fuel is go, about 1 1/4 G's. Cabin pressure is just coming off the peg. The oxygen is go. We're at 26 amps.
Flying 7 times the speed of sound, Gus took control of the joystick and through Liberty Bell's picture window saw a panorama never seen before.
We're at 0 G and turning around, and the sun is really bright.
I could see the sun shining through the window, and I was so fascinated by this view out the window that I had difficulty concentrating on the instruments. I kept wanting to peek out the window.
Oh, boy. Roger, you're on the window. Are you trying a yaw maneuver? I'm trying a yaw maneuver, and I'm on the window. It's such a fascinating view out the window, you just can't help but look out that way. I understand.
Barely 5 minutes after blastoff, it was already time to prepare for re-entry.
Joe Jettison is armed. Joe Jettison is armed, going to bring command.
Plummeting to Earth at 7,500 feet per second, Liberty Bell burned into the atmosphere. As the speeding capsule fell from its apogee, gravity and momentum built to crushing force.
Okay, the G's are starting to